Hello, friends. Uncle Marv here with another episode of the Unhealthy Podcast, the show where we get real about the habits, stress, and lifestyle choices that are quietly wrecking our health and what we can actually do about it. Well, we are here with part 2 of an episode with Coach Brian Parana. In part 1, we dug into why many successful men over 40 struggle with their health. And we didn't quite say it this way, but I think if we were to say trying harder doesn't work, and how all of this ties directly into how we show up as dads, husbands, and leaders. So today in part 2, we're going to shift from the why to the how and figure out some simple systems to do that for us. Brian, welcome back.
Yeah, thank you for having me again here to seal the deal. And you're right, trying harder. So many people go to the gym, but they never change. What's the other saying? You cannot work a bad diet. Things like that.
That is true. That is true. Or I think one of the things that happens is if they go without instruction and they just push it too hard, and then after a few days, they're hurting, they're sore, and it's like, okay, I need a couple of days to recover. And then, of course, you don't ever get back on that horse the way you should.
Exactly. Or one more will go, practice makes perfect. That's not true.
Oh, my goodness gracious. All right. So before we get into the meat and potatoes and things, let me ask you a question from my point of view. This will be my personal confession. Framed in this question. Can you give an example how you would adjust a plan for somebody that is on planes and in hotels, at conferences, on the go, never the same schedule every day? How would you put together something for somebody like that?
Wow, you just described my ideal client that I work with all the time. I literally have multiple episodes on Driven for Health. I could rattle off a bunch of them with guys that travel. Episode 10, 53, 34, 113, 117, 137. Those are just a few of guys that travel a lot. 137 is Nate. He traveled to Japan, South Africa. He lives in the Bay Area in San Francisco, and he's a professor at Harvard, and he traveled all the way over to where Harvard's at, in a multitude of other places while we work together.
Nate's the guy that ate ice cream all the time, right?
Yeah, that was the ice cream guy. Yep. He didn't eat Ben and Jerry's, people, okay? But he found a way to allow himself to have an enjoyable ice cream-like experience that checked the box, and he could do it every day to the point where you can listen in the podcast that his friends would line up when he made the the Ninja Creamy pistachio ice cream. So that's excellent. So he found a way to be resourceful to create the experience that he wanted that worked in line with what his goals were. And isn't that what every human wants? They want to do things in the laziest way possible to get the most outcome. And so I'm just going along with natural human behavior in those type of things. So let's go back to the question of, how do I help someone that travels a lot, that has a lot of variability in their schedule? Well, we go back to even the part 1 of why I do this in the first place. I'm Brian. I'm a driven person. That's how I self-identify. I'm a go, go, go type person. I have 4 kids. I'm self-employed for 15 plus years running a business. We travel a lot. We just got back from Alaska for a week. I was in Machu Picchu for almost 2 weeks back in spring break. We're going to go to Ireland and Thanksgiving, hopefully Japan next spring break.
Nice.
So I travel a lot too. So I have been at a stable body weight for decades. So there's a way to do it, people. Now, going back to the principle of what we need to do to establish, okay, how do we be successful while we travel? I call it the AIM principle. The AIM principle, AIM. Am I moving in the right? Am I moving in the direction toward my health goals or away from it? Am I moving toward or away from my health goals? Okay, that's the question. You just got to ask it. Then we have to identify with which way you're actually heading with that specific question that you pose. And you can do this 1,000 times a day because we make a lot of different choices in the day that either move us toward what our goals are in a variety of different ways or away from them. And then the M is make a move. If we move toward our direction, cool, we're moving and we're creating momentum. If we move away from them, oh, I had too many beers at the client dinner. I had the dessert cart at the conference that just rolled by me and I just somehow reached out and grabbed the brownie or the cookie or whatever, or a piece of candy fell in my mouth as I was walking through the office. Like those are things that are going to happen. And so we have choice. It's called the power of choice. Now you can always make a choice to move toward what your goals are or away from. So that is going to be the question that I would put in someone's mind is, especially in the beginning. So like say we were just working out and you're going to go to a 3 or 4 day conference and it's the pretty typical thing that you always do. My goal was is to have you be weight maintenance when you come back, or even better, right? That's the obvious logical choice to happen in those 3 days. And I would just say, Uncle Marv, can you just make better choices than the last time you did this 3 day conference, a week or two or a month ago or whatever, a year ago? And that would be our agreement that we would start with something as basic as that to start moving and building, just like in our last conversation, building trust, building that relationship, building momentum in like, oh, hey, I can actually follow through on the things that I say I'm going to do, especially when it comes to my health. And I can start to trust myself again, because that's a big underlying issue is that if you've lost weight and regained it, you lose trust in yourself when it comes to taking care of yourself and your health.
Do you ever dig deep into paying attention what food is at a certain hotel? Because that's, of course, part of the problem is, some of the crap that they serve. You have option A, which is crappy, and option B, which is crappier.
Crappy. Right. In that situation, in any situation, no matter where you're at, you always control how much food goes in your mouth, right? No one's force feeding you anywhere, right?
Most of the time, yeah.
Usually not a thing, right? Not usually a thing. There's plenty of food available for you to eat, but you're the one that's putting the food in your mouth. Regardless of the food choice, can I get you to just practice portions around what you are served or are available? So that means that we don't have to spend any extra money. We don't have to go DoorDash food in. We don't have to be weird and not eat at the client dinner. We don't have to do anything. It's just don't overeat whatever is served, right? That's a basic premise of say a step one that someone could do to move them toward their health goal. But then we'd say, I get menus from restaurants all the time. I get pictures of food that people are eating and I give them actionable advice. I have a PDF called Eating on the Go Guide, and it has, I don't know, like 30 different restaurants that you can literally go to. Like, oh, I'm going to go here. These are the 3 best options that Brian's already picked up for me, and here's how to order them. So you can just really expedite the process and stop thinking so much. So there's so many, we want to be resourceful at any of these things. And that's what I'm asking the guys to do is become resourceful and make better decisions. Not don't eat the cookie. Whether you eat a cookie at a conference or not doesn't dictate if you're going to gain 3 pounds from that conference time or not. Eating multiple cookies and then following it up with beer or ice cream or whatever else, or another burger or something later, that's going to be the bigger problem.
Yeah.
So,
okay. I just wanted to get that out the way so we could get my help for the day taken care of. Folks, hey, we mentioned the podcast. We're going to have a link in the show notes to that. We talked about that a little bit last time. And I was going to start to ask you a question about your last episode that I did not finish, but it started out with your real questions. And that low T thing, we'll have to get a schedule to talk about that. There's something about these low T commercials that are just bugging the hell out of me. So
this is perfect cue, because my next podcast You ready for the title here? Let
Okay.
me pull it up here so I can actually read it. It'll be episode 139. I have to record it, but 139, and you can't really see it on my thing here, but I'm showing them in the video that we have. It says how to spot a fake AI workout ad before it costs you money.
Oh,
Or
nice.
the one after that is how to spot a fake supplement ad before it costs you money. Those are literally my next two podcasts that are already served up, ready to go, just need to be recorded.
Okay, we have to talk because I have a list of topics, and some of those are those commercials and those things you see on Facebook, and do this 100 times and you'll lose your belly.
Here's Tai Chi workouts that will make you feel 20 again.
Yes. Or, going to the gym is for your 20s. In your 40s, you should do military calisthenics.
Yes, exactly. Right. Exactly.
All right. We will have to revisit on that. So
yeah.
Nice. The website, folks, I want to steer you to thecalltorise.com. And that is what we're going to focus on here. When people go there, they're going to see the ads lose 20 to 30 pounds in 100 days. But I want to also talk about, you've got this system called Rise 72 that I wanted to ask you about. Can you quickly describe in a nutshell what it is, and then we'll dig a little deeper?
Yep. Rise 72, or more currently, lose 3 pounds in 3 days.
Okay.
That is what I have evolved it into. And lose 3 pounds in 3 days is provided to get a quick win, right? Everyone wants an instant result. Everyone wants that dopamine of like feeling successful. So I'm just playing into that as well. This isn't a fad. It isn't marketing. It isn't anything. You could lose 3 pounds in 3 days by just literally drinking more water, reducing inflammation in your body. And your body says, and eating healthier foods. And your body says, holy cow, I feel a lot better. I don't need this extra weight. And you flush out 3 pounds of water. Like literally, you could lose it and not do weird things like starve yourself, do juice fasts, any of those weird marketed things. The one,
well, that's why I wanted to ask, because literally a lot of them are, drink this and detox your body, and
right.
24 hours. And
let's answer this question. I'll still resolve the 3 pounds in 3 days, but let's go to the things, the commercials and all the stuff that you're seeing. If something is overhyped, it is heavily marketed, it has a funnel to it, meaning that it grabs your attention, it has you watch a thing, or click to this website that has you watch a thing, or scroll down, or there's a time limit on it, or there's limited supplies, or there's buy 3 get 6 free, or something like that. That is probably not gonna work for you. Okay. If it has, especially with the AI video now, it's tricking people, but you can tell there are tells. It's not good enough yet where it literally looks like real people in a sense. It's getting pretty darn good, but there's this one that I saw from someone that the main part of the video looked really good. And you wouldn't have been able to necessarily tell.
Right.
There were some things about, there's a younger guy, and then there's a woman. The woman was the main feature, and she was a little bit more figured in a sense and fit, if you know what I mean. A little bit more. The proportions were a little bit
too perfect.
Too Barbie-like in a sense. So that could be a tell. But what happened was, and you didn't see it because you were so distracted by the body that was going on there, was that in the background, the same person, literally the same face, same hair, the same image of that body that was recreated for the front of the scene, the main character in that ad, was on a shoulder press machine, but was pulling down, and all of a sudden a bar appeared in her hand. And you wouldn't have seen it because you weren't paying attention to what was happening in the background, but it was there. And I was like, holy cow, there is the tell that this is AI. Or you can see it in this. They have a lot of avatars now where there's this talking body person, and then the background keeps changing on you or stuff. So if you've seen one, you've seen 1,000 of them, because they're getting produced a lot, and you have to, it's going to be hard in the future. In like 5 years, it'll probably incredibly challenging. But right now, there's still obvious things that you can see patterns of behaviors or the words that they use. There are very much still AI tell in the language that is being said. It's not this, it's that. Like those type of phrasing are AI generated because humans don't usually talk like that most of the time, unless it is an actual scripted something that a professional may have written 5 years ago. But in the last year or so, that is heavy AI and it is automated. And there's a very specific order in which this well thought out process from grabbing someone's attention to getting into their pocketbook is. And
Right.
people spend a significant amount of money on it to be able to produce those outcomes of I'm going to spend $100,000 on Meta every day to be able to make this thing profitable. And it will be because they're just spending so much money and effort to sell these. The one was Fit Espresso. Take 2 pills 30 minutes before you have coffee in the morning. And that's how the change nothing else in your life. And you're going to lose all this weight.
Yeah. These will speed up your metabolism and
Yeah,
all that
exactly,
stuff.
right.
So,
and that too, the vague terminology of that or speed up your metabolism, you'll live longer. And like, there's no science back supported information or anything. Then if it's overly polished, things like that are gonna be it. It's like as much as I'd love to say my stuff's polished. It's good. It's not corporate level, right? It's just Brian, a health coach over here, making his content, producing it, making PDFs that help people out, and you can see that it's not a graphic designer quality in a sense. It's a health coach that is trying to be a graphic designer to put pieces together that people will gain value from without spending an enormous amount of money on content creation in a sense.
So let's talk about what we've seen there versus your 72-hour window to get things started.
Yeah.
And then let's go ahead and start to transition into your 100-day plan.
Yeah. So in the Lose 3 Pounds in 3 Days program, the protocol is the exact protocol that I use in my program. And I'll share it with you. We have a lean protein. We have lots of fibrous carbs or vegetables and fruit. And then we have a little bit of starchy carbs. We're going to have 3 of those a day. The goal is to move 3,000 more steps than whatever your average is. And then to drink 100 plus ounces of water and to get over 7 hours of sleep. Like those are the principles that are going to facilitate your body saying, holy cow, I feel a lot better. I can release and let go of this extra water weight that I'm bloated or retaining. Or I had a phone call with a guy who I signed up with on Friday. The dude was eating 5,000 milligrams of sodium in his day from the food. He said in the conversation, he was like, yeah, I'm bloated and I get backed up sometimes. And I only drink 40 ounces of water. And, oh, yeah, I eat 5,000 milligrams because he put all the food that he ate into ChatGPT and then it populated what his calories and macros were. But that's what it said the sodium was 5,000. I was like, dude, you're under drinking like a crazy, like by 50% or more. And you're eating 200% more milligrams of sodium in a day than you should be. So, yeah, no wonder you feel like you're in a brine mix just walking around all shriveled up in a sense and bloated and such.
So, so drinking that much water obviously is going to displace some of the other stuff that you're doing. The fiber is going to shock your body and be like, hey.
No, there's no shocking.
Okay.
So we go with these 2 questions. Where's the protein? Where's the fiber? When we have lean protein, you can actually eat a lot and get a lot of good protein. We're going to want about 40, 50 grams of protein in a meal. Of course, we can say chicken breasts and fish and all those type of really lean, but we could even have chicken thighs and whatnot. We just don't want really fatty meat, like 80% beef in a sense. That's not going to work for you.
Okay.
It's too high in fat. So we want high protein, low fat protein sources. And then we want lots of vegetables. Lots of fibrous foods, lots of volume.
How green?
Without the calories. Yeah, they can be greens, but they could just be vegetables too. Let's take this as an example. The bag of spinach at the grocery store, the gallon-sized bag, right?
Right.
How many calories are in that? Do you know, Uncle Marv?
I have no idea.
There's 60 calories in the whole bag. So when someone's
60
going and grab what's that?
60?
0, yeah.
That's
60 in the whole bag. So when say you're just going to build a salad. You're going to pour enough greens in a regular small bowl. So it's going to be maybe 20 calories of spinach at most. And then you're going to put a couple slices of cucumber and like half a tomato. There's like 40 calories in that bowl.
Until
That's
you
not
put
what I'm talking about.
until you put the dressing on.
Yeah, the dressing's going to have like 6 times more
Right.
calories than what's in the bowl, right? So, and going off dressing, we can find low calorie ways to manage that too. But let's go with an actual building a meal: 6-7 ounces of lean protein. Then we have the whole bag of spinach. We have a whole tomato that's 40 calories, a whole pepper that's 40 calories, a whole cucumber that's 40 calories. We're still what? Under 200 calories for your salad. That is a crazy amount of food that will fill you up for a long time. Plus, drinking 100 ounces of water in a day, you're going to feel radically different, especially if you're on the American standard diet that most people are eating, that is high fat, high carbs, high sugar, high sodium. And your body is just going to reduce inflammation and then allow the body to process. And that's what the basic undertone of what I do with people is I get them to eat foods that they like, do it in a way that keeps them full while staying in a calorie deficit, and help them improve their skills and understanding around nutrition so that they eat the right foods at the right times in the right amounts that they enjoy and can do for long term. So that's the lose 3 pounds in 3 days. It's all built around science and the fact that most people are over consuming crappy food. So
Right.
you can lose 3 pounds.
So I know that most people probably can do the food for a few days. They can drink more water. And if they've counted steps, they know how many more they need to take. If they don't count steps, just freaking walk more. But
Even look on your phone, right? You
Right.
can the Apple Health or Samsung Fitness or Google Fitness or whatever apps, they're on your phone. Just carry your phone on your person all day long. It's probably there anyways, right?
Yeah.
These days. So just look at the steps on your phone as a general predictor of how much you're taking, and you
Yeah.
can see. And most people are, here's a power stat: 5,000 steps a day. That'd be 50% than what I usually say. I like 10,000 steps. It just means that you're an active, healthy person that moves their body. So let's say you did 5,000 steps a day. That's 5,000 less in one day. That's 35,000 less in a week. That is 140,000 less steps taken in a month. That's over almost 1.7 million less steps taken in a year. How many calories are you not burning by parking farther away from wherever you're going, or taking a break in the middle of the day and going for a 10-minute walk here and there, or walking and talking with your partner when you get home from work to expend some energy, because movement is energy and you actually will feel better and you can communicate and talk with that person and not stare at yet another screen or something. So these are some of the basics of getting this person to start taking healthier behaviors.
Right. Well, I think most of us can do all of that, but the one I was going to ask you about do a lot of people struggle with the sleep part?
Man, it's like my Achilles heel. Like
I
my
was going to say
kryptonite.
that for some reason, I think that's the one that gets everybody.
So much. I'm Superman until sleep comes around, and then that's my kryptonite. Again, going back to just who I am. 43, self-employed for 15 years. So I own my own business and I have control of my own destiny, right? My boss, man, he's just a slave driver. He just like work, 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 right? But I've got my wife, I got 4 kids, I've got 4 cats, a dog. There's a lot going on in my everyday life, and it's hard to fit things in. And we all only have.
Why would you add all those cats in there?
COVID emotional support pets. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, every kid got a cat.
Nice.
Basically. So it was very helpful, and we still love our cats and they all get along really well, but there's 5 furry creatures that are in my house that are shedding like crazy because it's hot in the summertime here. So there's all these things that are going around, and I delegate to the best of my abilities. Certainly I could hire a team of people, but then that costs even more money, right? As you know, as hiring employees and stuff for your business, it costs money. And then you have to have more service and product to sell and all this stuff and acquire for higher revenues to pay those people. So my wife is a night owl. My kids have to get up by 7 o'clock for school. My one kid's a swimmer and he gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go swim most days, even in the summer. So Brian gets stuck in the middle. I can't go to sleep just at 9 or 10 o'clock just because I want to. I have routinely gone to sleep with my wife. We go to like bedtime generally together. I always fall asleep before she does, but it's usually around 11 or midnight, more midnight, and then my kids need up. So I'm at a 6 to 7 hour guy. I would love to be a 7 to 8 hour guy. I would love to even be over 8 hours, but at some point, I don't know if I need that much in a sense to operate on a daily basis, but let's go even to the primal layer of this. Humans are the only living creature on Earth probably in existence ever that defies the natural laws of sleep. Why? Because we have TV and we have these screens and we've
Yeah.
got light at night when we should be going to sleep at 8, 9, 10 o'clock. We're staying up till 11, 12, 1, 2. And we then have this super busy, fast pace, dopamine seeking, withdrawal attention, all these things that are happening in your day to day that really just fatigue you over time being exposed to them all. And there's never rarely any break that happens either because most people have to work 10 plus hours a day anyways, just to provide with inflation and all these other things that are going on in our day to day life. So there's a whole bunch of sleep there. One silly thing I'll throw out here. I had a sleep guy on my podcast who's episode 110 with Nick Lambie, but he called out one thing that caught my attention, and it was this. He said that your relationship with sleep is a predictor of your quality of sleep. So, Uncle Marv, if you self prescribe yourself as a poor sleeper or a bad sleeper, you are obviously that much more likely to actually be a bad sleeper because it's this self perception. What you believe is what you achieve. And if you believe you're a poor sleeper, then you will achieve poor quality of sleep in a sense. So that was a really interesting thing of your relationship with how you view yourself and your sleep patterns has a big impact more than you could ever know.
Interesting. So I've been monitoring my sleep.
Okay.
I've been
Yeah,
doing.
you have a Rincon, right?
I do, yes. So
Yep.
most nights are good, but I do have a plan to get better, and I will talk about that on an upcoming show when I feel more comfortable.
The 10-second wrap up on sleep is you need to have you have a bedtime that you need to go to.
Yeah.
There's a wind down routine that you need to go to that it signals to your body that you sleep. You need enough time in bed that will allow you to facilitate the amount that you need. So being in bed for 8 hours doesn't mean you're getting 8 hours of sleep.
Oh, of course
You're
not.
in bed for like 8.5. Then you have to have a natural flow of when you wake up.
Yep.
And if you know you have to wake up at this time, then we just work backwards of like, okay, when do I actually have to get to sleep?
Absolutely.
So 8.5 hours from there is like when you should be in bed. 9 hours, you should be like working your way to bed pretty quick in a sense. So like that ends up being the basic protocol of it. But humans are stubborn and they will ignore the bedtime alarm in a sense.
Oh, yeah.
And stay up too late.
Yeah, because that movie didn't end.
Oh,
We got to see the end. That Lifetime movie or whatever it is. So
Netflix and chill, way too late.
I want to go ahead. Let's try to get. Let's talk as quickly as we can about your 100 days. So once you go through the 72 hours, in general, what does the next 100 days look like, or does a 100-day system look like?
100-day program looks like this. So we'll go with Brent. Brent, whether it's his real name or not, right? Well, Brent had been listening to my podcast. He scheduled a call. He went on my website and the words I said and the things, and he resonated with my messaging. Then he went on my website and booked a call. We had a call today. We went through just a conversation of like, why is this important to you? Like, what do you want to be successful? Like, so that I can align with what your goals are. This guy was an endurance athlete, but he's in his 50s and he's gained a bunch of weight and lost a bunch of weight. And so we need to break this hamster wheel of gaining and losing. Now, with Brett, then he knows what to do. He tracks his food. He has a Garmin. He works out. He does all these things. So now next up is that he signed up. He's sending me pictures of food so he can actually see and I can see what he eats. He's got a 45-minute video that is the introduction to nutrition, and general fitness stuff. All the basics that I already shared to you. Like everyone knows what to do. The 100 days is an implementation program. So then we get on our first call. He's going to jump on a call tomorrow. So we're going to talk for about an hour and we're going to go through, okay, you saw what the general requirements are to live a healthy long-term lifestyle at a healthy body weight around food, sleep, movement, and water. And then we're going to start to figure out how to implement them into your real life. What does your day look like? When are we able to eat? What types of food do you enjoy? He's more plant based. So I'm not going to say, hey, let's have all this cow and chicken and all this stuff, like, because that's not going to work for him. Right. But for other people, they might be carnivores and they really want to eat steak in a sense. Now, from there, then he walks out of that first call with an action plan. The programs always start on Sunday. So he's got a couple bonus days. I was like, hey, buy 100 days, get 6 days free, man. That's what we're doing because you had a phone call with me on Monday. Lucky you, right? So then we work now. Like he's actively a client that I am engaged and our goal is to lose 20 plus pounds and do it in a sustainable way that he can do long term. The goal for him specifically, because he tracks, we will track as a tool. Not everyone tracks their food and calories and macros and all, but some people do and some people don't, because not everyone's the same. So it's not a one size fits all or cookie cutter or whatever. It's very individualized because I have to work with the person individual to make them successful in their life and their routine and their habits and behaviors. And so then I'll get to learn about who Brent is over the course of the next 100 days. And as we go, we have weekly meetings. He's got individual meetings to do. He will be texting me on the things that we agree upon basically every day. So there'll be an ongoing conversation and relationship with him. So it's very comprehensive in communication. And then we monitor progress. And so he's either going to tell me that he's making progress or he's not. And if he is, then great. Why are we making progress to help reaffirm that? And if he's not, okay, what is happening that is not allowing us to make progress? And then we start digging into what are some of the challenges that he has. And this is just basic coaching 101 with anyone. It's just that my focus is on health, nutrition, fitness, and lifestyle. And these are just how you go about it. So the goal is that I'm facilitating this journey with him. We're walking together side by side to get him to his goal by the time we're done at 100 days. And the goal is 20 plus pounds for him and to not have to track again in his life by being able to maintain the weight and be under 200 pounds. Now, whether we get to 200 pounds and lose 25 or we lose 20 or we lose 17, the goal is that he's going to be in a significantly better place by the end of the 100 days than he is. He's going to learn a lot because it's very educational and informative as we go. So in general, that is how it goes. It's a very hands-on, facilitated program and process that allows for people to be successful in their own life because we have to talk about that and make it work for their wife, for their children, for their travel schedule, for whatever it is there.
All right. So the website is thecalltorise.com. And if it sounds like I'm getting ready to rush Brian off of here, it is a yes, I am, because we got
2-3 more minutes.
We have a hard stop here, but that is the website for the 100-day health reset for fathers and business leaders. And what was that, Brian? You said we got a couple minutes. You got another?
Yeah, we got a few minutes.
Okay. Is there one other? Because I did want to get to the accountability part, but can you do that in a couple minutes, or do you just have a final thought you want to throw out?
Concise.
Okay.
I like to talk as we figured out. Yep. Go ahead.
So basically, when it comes to because there was a word on your website, and we talked about in our pre-show chat, brotherhood. And it's almost like brotherhood and accountability go hand in hand. Most people hear the word accountability and they think it's just, a check-in. I got to let you know what I'm doing. And it feels like a burden to do that. You've kind of mentioned that your system is not a burden, and this brotherhood and accountability. Can you describe that?
Yeah, definitely. Well, the brotherhood is, so I'm the team lead. I like to think of myself as the tide. I rise all boats. And when Brian shows up, the tide comes in and the boats go up in a sense. And we're all elevating that's what the whole thing is. Like, that's just what I do. I come in and I improve. I make things better through facilitating a relationship with the person to be supported, accountable, and help them understand where their strengths are, their weaknesses are, fill in the gaps, and make them more, say, well-rounded in a sense so that they can actually facilitate the goals that they want. Now, the Brotherhood also has other guys that are like-minded. It would be you, Uncle Marv. Like, it would be Brent, it would be Eric, it would be all these guys that come in. It would be Nate with the ice cream. They come in and they have this desire to change. They're very busy. They've got a lot of demands, a lot of responsibilities, but they have no centerpiece around health, fitness, nutrition, or any of that stuff in their everyday real life. And that is the challenge at which that they have to deal with and manage. And I'm very good at holding accountable in a way that allows them to be able to facilitate actual real progress through real conversations, through all the things that we need to accomplish as we go. So that ends up being, and so there's this ultimate relationship that you build with other guys, and this camaraderie of we're working toward a common good, and the common good is getting healthier. And that common good connection allows for everyone to just literally be better.
All right.
Self-improvement.
All right, I'm going to cut you off now so we can let you go.
Yeah. I'll
do that. But Brian, thank you for that. Obviously, very powerful. I hope we kind of gotten enough information for everybody. I'm going to have links to the website, to the podcast, and other resources where you can reach out to connect with Brian and learn about the call to rise. So, Brian, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Marv. Uncle Marv, I really appreciate you. And hopefully the guys got a lot out of this.
Oh, and well, we do, because I'm going to have you back to talk about that fake AI stuff. So,
yeah. Oh, there's so many things that we can talk about. So yeah. I'd love to be back.
All right, folks, if this conversation hit home with you, don't just nod along and move on to the next show. Check out Brian's resources, reach out and start building some momentum. Your health isn't just about you. It's about how you lead your family, your team, and your life. So thanks again to Brian for sharing his time and his heart with us. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you soon. And until next time, live healthy and be happy.